Hey, it's Maximo and welcome to Maximo's Travels. It's day 6 in Taiwan and today we're going to Jiufen. This old mining town is located 40 kilometers north of Taipei on Taiwan's north coast. We catch the bus there and have magnificent scenery along the way. You'll check out Jiufen Old Street and wander down its meandering narrow streets and check out all the different shops and stalls and eateries. We'll marvel at the scenery and the views that we get from this hillside town. Enjoy some drinks and something to eat at a bar that's perched right on the edge of town. We'll eat yet more street food and also explore a magnificent temple just below the old street. Join me on this not to be missed video. Our destination today was Jiufen Old Street. We'd done a lot of research on the best way to get there and we concluded that the tourist bus was the best way and probably the cheapest way too. The cost of the bus was 90 Taiwanese dollars or around about $4.50 Australian each way. An absolute bargain, I think. The journey to Taiwan's North Shore was around 40 kilometers and 45 minutes. Buses run every half an hour or so. We chose to go on a Monday, thinking it'd be not very busy, but the bus and the old street itself were quite busy in the end. We could have also ridden a train and then changed to a bus, but couldn't be bothered making the change because it really didn't save that much time or money, or taking an organised tour. These organised tours were quite expensive, ranging between 70 and over 200 Australian dollars for a full day tour. We considered doing a tour, but most of the reviewers were quite mixed. Either there was too much walking because the minibuses couldn't park that close to the attractions, the guides didn't speak very much English, or there wasn't much time at each of the locations that you were visiting and you were rushed through. Some of the attractions included in the tours did look interesting, such as the Li Hu Geo Park as well as a Jiufen waterfall, but we'd been to a Geo Park the day before and the waterfall, while it looked okay, wasn't that impressive. So we decided to restrict ourselves to Jiufen Old Street and some of the nearby temples around it. It certainly was a very interesting bus ride to the old street. It was characterized by really heavy traffic in the city and a very nice transition between inner city and semi-rural. I wouldn't say any part of Taiwan is fully rural because it's either mountainous and very, very rugged or built up. And there's lots of little towns and small cities every few miles along the way that we went. There were lots and lots of stops along the way, 55 of them in fact. And that was a curious mix of locals and tourists. I'd say it'd be about half and half. We passed many spectacular towns as well as quite a few rapidly flowing rivers. It was quite a spectacular journey, really. The closer that we got to our destination of Jiufen, the hillier and more spectacular the landscape and scenery became. After riding for about an hour and 15 minutes, we finally arrived at the town of Jiufen. Jiufen is an old gold mining town. It was founded in the 1400s and was actively mining gold right until the 1970s. The town then fell into disrepair and quite a few people moved out. There was a couple of movies, including Spirited Away, an anime film released in the early 2000s that really brought a lot of tourists and life back into this town. It is now a very, very popular tourist mecca in Taiwan. I'm getting the really strong smell of almond.
Yeah, me too. Like marzipan.
Marzipan, was it? Jiufen Old Street is a narrow winding alleyway with shops, tea houses and restaurants that offers tourists a view of traditional Taiwanese life. A lot of the buildings are original and they keep their old worldly charm. Most of the alleyway is covered, which is really good because it was intermittently raining when we visited here. stinky tofu. We'd had a marvellous time walking through all the shops and eateries of Jiufen Old Street. It was overcast and the conditions were quite humid and uncomfortable. We were thirsty, so decided to go to a local bar for a drink. So here we are, Joe, in Jiufen, at the end of the Old Street, in a little cafe bar, enjoying a cleansing ale with a magnificent backdrop behind me. Cheers. So Joe, what have you got there?
It's, well, I had to order online with the QR code and some of it was in English. So this is an iced latte.
Right.
There were two options. I just pressed one. I don't really know what the options said.
And is that a cheesecake?
It's a cheesecake.
Right.
It says dried
I've got
fruit.
some dry fruit and a cleansing ale.
What are these?
What are those? They're fruits that are dried. Hence the dried fruit.
Unidentified.
That's right. We had a nice drink and sit down at the bar and then continued on our walk through the Jiufen Old Street. We'd stayed there for about 45 minutes to an hour and noticed the area was a hell of a lot busier than when we went into the bar. I think quite a few tour buses had arrived and deposited scores of people in the town. Joe spotted a stall that was selling peanut butter ice cream in a taco with coriander, and well, we just had to try some. This is our second helping of this wonderful dessert. It's great that you get to see it made freshly right in front of you. Right, what have you got there, Joe?
I have a peanut. This is a rice wrapper.
Rice wrapper? I could probably have one of those. Oh, I've missed out all.
On the uptake.
I've missed out all this time.
Go and get one.
Maybe I can have a bite of yours.
No,
Okay.
do not share. Cilantro is peeking through.
Right. So it's got peanut, ice cream.
Same as the last one.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, I might. There's a beautiful backdrop, isn't it?
Misty mountains.
It is. Yeah, I might get one. I did get one, and I can report along with Joe that it was absolutely delicious. Unusual, but delicious. What you're seeing now is a master craftsman making boba. They're the little balls that are the ingredients in the bubble tea, the Taiwanese bubble tea. It's quite fascinating to see them make them. And on the right there is the boba cooking to perfection. By the time we left the Jiufen Old Street, it was just so busy. It was hard to even take a picture of the street sign. There were so many people milling around waiting for their Instagram shots. At this stage we had a choice to make. Do we continue to the Jiufen Queen Temple? It was going to be a 3-kilometre round trip but it started to rain and the skies were looking quite threatening. We decided against going here and instead went to the City God temple that was just below the old street. You can see the magnificent roof from the main street above it. I think Joe was all templed out and I went down there and checked it out by myself. The intricate carvings and deep colours on the roof were just amazing. And while the exterior of this temple isn't quite as nice as the Queen Yung temple, the interior was, well, just exquisite. Oh, it's so much busier now than it was this morning. It's insane. We had a marvellous and culturally rich time in Jiufen. It was time to head back into Taipei. We tried to work out where the bus stop was. It's basically uphill from the Jiufen Old Street. The bus stop is basically across the road from that big Jiufen sign. We waited about 15 minutes for the bus to arrive. We were first in line, and even though it seemed like a bit of chaos, all the people let us board first. Very polite of them. You can use your IC transit card to pay for the bus ticket. If you're low on funds, you can top it up at any convenience store. Very, very handy. We grabbed our seat and settled for the hour and 15-minute journey back into Taipei. We're actually lucky because they left a few people behind. The bus was absolutely chock-a-block full. Those passengers would have to wait half an hour for the next bus. And incidentally, I'll leave a link to the ticketing information because you don't want to get left behind on the mountain. It'd be a very, very expensive taxi ride back to the main train station further down the hill. And if you are taking the bus back, make sure that you sit on the right hand side of it to ensure you get the best views going down. We had a fantastic day at Jiufen. I highly recommend that you come here either by bus, train and bus, or take an organised tour. I do hope you've liked this video. If so, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Hit that notify bell so you'll never miss another upcoming video. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying me a coffee or hit that super thanks button. And until my next video, which will cover our last day in Taipei, you take care and bye now.